Happy New Year! Hey guys, it's me, Rebecca, and this will be the start of another weekly vlog. It is currently the 5th of January, and since this is my first vlog of 2025, I decided to do a bit of a catch-up. I didn't vlog last week at all just because I wasn't really mood for it. I think I just needed a bit of a break from vlogging, and honestly it was just tired for some reason. But yeah. I have done a bit of reading so far this year. I did finish Darling House by Alexei Harrell, which I enjoyed. I gave it 4 stars. I did enter 2025 with 30 pages left of Cleopatra and Frankenstein. I didn't finish it even though I wanted to, but honestly, New Year's Eve happened, and by 10:30 typically I'm asleep. So trying to stay up till midnight was a struggle, and I was just tired, so that didn't happen. But, oh well. I did also enjoy that one, and I gave it 4 stars. And last night I read 20 pages of my current read, and I've done a bit more reading today. And my current read is Heartless Hunter by Kirsten Israeli. I did take off the dust jacket, so I cannot really show you the book. I know in the UK it's called The Crimson Moth, which so far I think makes more sense. Like, I don't really know why it's called Heartless Hunter. But with this book, we follow this main character, a girl named Woon, who a couple years before she sold out her nan to these like witch hunters. Witches were acceptable or really like ruled the country she lives in until a few years ago when there was a revolution that occurred, and everyone who was a witch or was suspected of witch or being a witch sympathizer was hunted down and killed. Like, the witches was because they wanted to, I guess, purify them, purge them of their witchcraft, but really that's just killing them. And Woon, she did what she did because her friend Alex, whose older brother was part of the blackguard of people who hunt down witches, told her that they suspected her grandmother of being a witch and that they were gonna come after her. And her nan told her to sell them out, to sell her out and tell them the truth and to protect Woon, because if Woon also was caught knowing that her nun was a witch, she would also be also killed. So and since then she has become this figure named the Crimson Moth, who goes and helps witches, saves them from being executed, and helps them escape through a cargo that she owns. And Woon herself is a witch. She came into her powers a few months after her grandmother was executed, and she's kind of hidden herself in plain sight. Like, she's someone who's part of the society. She's invited to these dinners because people see her because of the fact she sold out her grandmother as this figure of the revolution, someone to admire, and she just hates him. And alongside the friend who told her about the fact of her grandmother, and another friend of hers, Verity, who's her own mother sold out her own older daughters as being witches because she hated witches that much that she basically killed her daughters. Woon saves these women, saves the witches, and when she is trying to find one of her grandmother's oldest friends who she needs to help, Saffron, and when she gets to where Saffron lives, she finds these witch hunters have already been there, and Woon starts getting closer to Alex's older brother, Blackguard, whose name is Gideon, to get information on where Saffron is being kept before she's gonna be moved to the palace for execution. And Gideon, he has his own history with witches. It seems like he had a relationship with one of the witch queens, and he just has a hatred towards them, and he also has his own agenda. He wants to find out who comes him off, but also someone's been going around and killing people, and he believes it's the Crimson Moth who is also responsible for this, because in this world, witches, they perform magic by using their blood, and one way to tell if someone is a witch is by the scars, because when someone cuts themselves to use their magic, to use their blood for spells, it leaves silver scars on their arms or on a person. And there was once a time when those scars and witchcraft in general was admired, and people wore them out in the open, and now people hide them. Yeah. So we do see how blood is used for magic, and how I guess the freshness of your blood is natural, because it seems like it's not one who's responsible for these deaths, as it's maybe ghosts or somebody, who cares, as the blood she uses comes from her monthly cycle. So Woon and Gideon suspects Woon might know something of the Crimson Moth, or might be the Crimson Moth herself, and he tries to get close to her, and the two start courting one another, and I believe it ends up with them getting married. I didn't get to that part. It seems like the part I'm at, it's just the beginning of their courtship, and kind of dealing with Alex, Gideon's younger brother, who Alex is in love with Woman, who Moon is like, oh, he's doing what he's doing, trying to keep her away from Gideon, because he's, trying to protect his older brother, and it's kind of obvious that he's in love with Moon, so there is that, and the whole thing is, and so far I'm liking it. I do like the kind of dynamic, I would say, between Gideon and Moon, because there is a scene when she's trying to put a spell on him, a truth spell, and he's not buying it. He doesn't drink the wine that the spell's in, because he doesn't drink, he abstains from wine just because he doesn't like not being in control from stuff, I guess. And that whole scene was quite intimate, and I did like it. So yeah, so far I'm less intrigued really about how this will go about the courtship, with them kind of being with them definitely being enemies, and as well I am intrigued to learn who is responsible for these killings, and yeah, so far I'm just having a fun time, so yeah. And yeah, I think that's all for now, so I'll see you when I see. So it's the next day, and I have done quite a bit more of reading of Heartless Hunter, and I'm on page 238, and I'm very much enjoying it. I'm very much enjoying seeing these scenes between Gideon and Moon, and kind of like the chemistry between the two of them, and we do see more, I guess kind of attempts of them both trying to play the scenario to their favor, or the scene to their favor, to get the information they need from the other person. Like, there is a scene when Gideon is like trying to make her a dress, and he needs her measurements and whatever. She has to kind of strip like to her underwear in front of him, when she does feeling, and he's able to see her scars, see if she has any silver scars. It is mentioned later on that she does have like scars, like from day-to-day occurrence, like from horse riding and from other stuff, but they are not silver. And he isn't able to see that. He is able to see that the majority of her body doesn't have any scars, and we'll get to that later. But also with the same thing, she is a pretty woman. He can't resist, and she thinks she has him. She seduced him a bit. Like, there's no explicit scenes so far that I've come to know. but she was able to get some information out of him. And it turns out he purposely gave her some information that wasn't correct about where suffering is, and it's a trap for the Crimson Moth. And we do see the whole scene of like her falling for this false information, and as well like her almost getting caught by Gideon and Lila, who is another blackguard, and her escape from them. And we also see like Gideon also would be able to arrest Woon for kind of working with the Crimson Moth, as he only told this information to Woon. She later tells him that that when she was at a luncheon after they went their separate ways, that she told everyone at the table where about this information and so he no longer has any reason to arrest her. Which is like the whole thing was just intense in a way. That's what really made me fall in love with her, but I would have to say. With Woon and Gideon, the line starts to blur on like whether this on both of their parts is really just solely them kind of using this courtship ability as ways to get the information they want from one another, or if they are in also the line of them actually falling for one another. Like there is a scene like after where they kiss for the first time when he's able to convince her to strip completely naked so we can see her entire body and go for a swim. And with that scene, the line blurs entirely as they do kiss, and it's not solely like they're using it as an opportunity to get closer. It's like both of them seem to want it. Like he allowed himself to get vulnerable and tell her about his history with one of the witch sisters in the past and why he hates witches so much. He had a relationship with one of the sister queens, and this woman, she was quite possessive over him. She was convinced that he wasn't completely faithful to him. And as well, there is like a magic that you can use which is highly illegal, where you can either use other people's blood to perform spells, and that has consequences for the person whose blood you're using as well. It makes the person performing this magic more power hungry. And we see how these sister queens, they drained his mother of her blood a bit, and how she became weaker, how because this sister queen not hated, I don't know where that came from, but she was so convinced that he was faithful to her at all, she would assign him tasks, and if she thought that he didn't complete it sufficiently enough, she would punish him. Like she killed his mother, she let his father to kill himself, she killed his sister essentially, and the only person like that she had that she was able to use leverage against him was Alex's brother, and she was able to do that still. You see how his hatred for witches bloomed, but also Woon allows herself to be vulnerable a tiny bit, and she cannot risk being seen as a witch sympathizer, but she still loves her grandmother and still feels this habit of guilt. And I would say what I enjoy the most about this is Woon and Gideon, they come from different society not places, but they're on different levels of society. Like Woon has always known luxury, she's always been on a higher end of society. Gideon grew up in the poor end of things, and he thinks that she doesn't understand what it means to be poor, she doesn't understand what people have to go through to survive, and she doesn't even try to understand his things. And she, when they first met, she didn't understand why he acted the way he does, because she behaved in a way she was taught things should be, and he didn't know things the way she was taught, like the proper way of things, and how shaking hands, like he thought it's something only people who are because the axe do, and that's not the case. And we see more how with this with the love triangle involving Alex, like Alex wants Woon to go with him to this other country for at least a month because he wants her to keep a love profile and he thinks he's doing it to protect her. And it turns out that he's planning to stay in that country and he's hoping that Woon will also stay and give up on everything. But we do also learn, we see really like to Woon, he doesn't understand like why she does what she does. Like she is a witch, she has these powers, and if she allows the witches to continue to be hunted down, like she's turning her back on her kind. And as well, like he doesn't understand like the fun aspects because she and Verity both know what it means to lose someone because of the witch hunters, and he doesn't like. To him, he also sees witches as somewhat of a bad thing, probably because of what he's experienced when and before the revolution really went off. So I do like that, and also like how Gideon, he's also holding himself back a bit because he's protecting his little brother. Like he knows Alex is in love with Woon. He wants Alex to be happy. Like to Gideon, all he's ever wanted was to protect Alex and make him happy. So he's willing to do that. Woon, on the other hand, thinks Alex is this overprotective of Gideon. She's like so ignorant about the fact that he's in love with her. Like it's kind of obvious in the way he behaves towards her. That what he feels is in this protectiveness over his brother, but he's in love with her. So. And also with the fact like Woon and Gideon, they still try to convince themselves without what they're doing solely like to meet their own goals. Like Woon, after she and Gideon kiss the first time, she tries to convince herself that she loves him. She actually says it a lot that she loves him, and it's like the way her voice pronounces that word. It's like she doesn't fully believe herself. So I really like that. So yeah, so far I'm very much enjoying this novel. Really, the whole not dynamic, but the chemistry and how intimate these scenes feel, and kind of the tension between Gideon and Woon, and the jealousy of Alex. Like so far I'm just very much enjoying this. So yeah. And yeah, I think that's all for now. So it's the next day and I just got back from running a bunch of errands and whatnot with my mom, and I have done quite a bit of reading of The Heartless Hunter, and I'm on page 352. I was planning to try and finish this today, but don't think I'm in the mood to. If I do, then I'll let you know tomorrow, but yeah. So far, I'm very much still enjoying it. Let me get my notes out. So, and really discuss this in order, just because like the last 100 or so pages, a lot has happened. We do see more of, we do really learn more of the deaths, and we get really that's been happening in the murders. That's been happening, I should say. Really, we see how I guess the method of the murderers, like to slit the blackguards' throats and whatnot. But with this one, there was a case where 2 blackguards were killed in Gideon's on a scene, and the murderer, they left a message for him, and they said that Gideon is next. So I'm intrigued to see how that goes. And he still thinks that the Crimson Moth and this murderer are the same person. If not that, then they're at least in alliance with one another. So he's trying to figure it out, and what to do with that, I guess. And we do get the scene when, at the dinner that Woon invites Gideon to, the head commander tries to have a public purging of Saffron, a witch that Woon tried to save, and he wants Woon to kill her, slit her throat. And Woon has no choice but to do so. But before she is able to kill Sephirin, a fire starts, and it's a fire that's like a spell fire starting on him. And Gideon, he shows up when Moon is kind of being engulfed in this ring of flames, and he is able to rescue her. And later, after the fire has been put out, the Blackguards, they find the seal. Eh? When a witch casts a spell, she sometimes leaves something that is called a casting signature, which is like a specific mark for each witch after she casts the spell. And with this casting signature, it's one that's very familiar to Gideon, as it belonged to one of the sister witches, specifically to the one he was involved with, to the one who hurt him and his family, and the one that he thought Alex killed, because Gideon, he killed the other two, but the third sister witch, didn't leave her cottage at all, really. And Alex went to get vengeance for what she did to his family, and that's what she did to Gideon. And it turns out Alex wasn't able to kill her, and he allowed her to flee, which he did warn her that if she ever did come back, he would kill her truly. But I mean, she is someone who has a lot of magic, and she is someone who's extremely powerful, so she probably just went in hiding for a bit until she was able to get enough followers together and whatnot. And there's that. And after Gideon and Moon, they spend the night together, Moon overhears a conversation Gideon has with Lila and Harrow, two Blackguards, one of whom do know his intentions towards Moon, and was the one who kind of led him to sleep with her to really truly see if she has any silver scars, because while he has seen her completely naked, like, there are parts of her he wasn't really able to see close up in the dark. So there's that. She hears that, as well as a bunch of other things he says that's extremely douchebag of him, I would have to say. And when we see numerous times throughout the novel how she's someone who does have insecurities, like she doesn't think she's good enough, that she's not good enough for Gideon will pass her, she's choosing something over her, like, she is someone who has so many insecurities, and when she hears this as the fact, like, I would say it's hypocritical of her getting upset with the fact he was using her when she was also using him, but she also, along the way, did fall in love with him, despite what she told herself. And she thinks that for him it was all just a ruse, it was just a way to get closer to her, to learn the information that he wanted. So she does break it off, and she runs, and she ends up with Alex, and he does finally make the fact that he has feelings for her extremely clear when he proposes to her. And yeah, I just got to that part when she is deciding if she should be with him, as he is the safe option, like, she will feel safe with him, and she will, even if she doesn't want to leave, like, she does feel a responsibility to the other witches in her country, on the island, to help them when she's able to, and she's failed some, but she doesn't want to fail them all, so she does have this choice whether to continue remaining in a danger or be somewhere safe. And after everything she's just been through with being led on by Gideon, who made her think that he has feelings for her, then I'm assuming she's gonna accept Alex's proposal, so yeah, I'm curious to see how that goes as well. Okay, with the fire, and as well as a lot of other things, and the head commander of the Blackguards, he decides to put the curfew back on and allow the blackguards to perform raids when they need to if they suspect there's a witch or witch sympathizer or someone at a location. And one night the blackguards start performing this raid at this print shop, and it turns out the person who asked to run the print shop for the evening and you find evidence that there was a meeting there that because of the curfew shouldn't be happening. And they interrogate the owner of the print shop, who says that the person who wanted to rent the space for the evening was a university student, and he wasn't able to get a name, but he was able to give them details, and those details, like, led to a sketch artist to sketch someone who looks a lot like Woon's closest friend, Verity. So yeah, I'm very much intrigued to see where that goes, if that goes anywhere, or if that's just something that's a bit of a coincidence. So, yeah, so far I'm very much enjoying it, and I will give my final rating when I finish this, either tonight or tomorrow. We shall see, but yeah, that's all for now. So it's the next day, and it's quite a chilly day. It's like, I think, 25-26 degrees Fahrenheit sober, and there's also quite a bit of wind, which was fun when I just went out to throw away some trash. Yeah, and also it was fun trying to just get home and whatnot. But yep, and this morning before I went to work, I did finish Heartless Hunter by Kirsten Cicerelli, and I did give it a 5-star. Like, I very much enjoyed the ending. We do see like the three of them, Alex, Verity, and Alex, Verity, oh my god. I'm quite tired today, so I did wake up at 3:30. So anyway, they are planning and plotting the rescue of Saffron. Alex was able to get Gideon's like golden coin that allows them to have like access to the prison where Saffron is held, and Verity was able to get the uniforms. And Woon did accept Alex's proposal, and she is gonna leave the island they're on, like, after she rescues Saffron. The thing is, Gideon, he came over and left a box of roses that he needed on Woon's as an apology. And she asks for him to meet, and he agrees the next day. And before that meeting, she finds like some weird stuff out about Verity that does come into relevancy. I would say this did come out of nowhere a tad bit, but I mean, there might have been hints. Apparently, there was an illusion placed on what was a broom closet for it to look like Verity's room, and Verity wasn't even listed as a resident of the hall she was supposed to be living in. There was a lot of weird stuff, but like, why did everyone assume like Woon was coming over? Like, probably just like she had a friend there, and I don't know. And it turns out there's an illusion, but the thing is, when Woon does meet up with Gideon, he was trapped. He overheard her, Alex, and Verity plotting, which I don't know why he didn't arrest Alex, because he would have recognized his younger brother's voice. And I do say arrest because he found the golden coin. He also found the vial of blood Woon was gonna use, and he has Woon arrested and has her led to the purging stage where Saffron is currently is at, so she could also be purged. And before they're able to actually start the purging ceremony, I guess, they're rescued again by these witches, this time led by the youngest sister witch, Cresta, the one who hurt Gideon in the past. And we learned that Cresta, after all of these years, was hiding in plain sight. She was, spoiler, masking as Woon's friend as Verity. Like, there might have been a little variety, but it seems like Cresta killed her, and it also seemed like Cresta might have been the one who's responsible for the killings, so she can get vials of blood to keep up the illusion. And there's a whole confrontation with Cresta and Gideon where he promises to hunt them. And she tries to kill him by shooting at him with a gun, and Alex jumps in front of him and ends up dead. And one that leaves with Cresta with Severin and the other witches that Cresta had in her army to go to the main island to be with the main country, to be with the witches residing there, the witches that Wound rescued. So now Gideon's on a hunt for Cresta and Moon, two witches who took advantage of him and hurt him in more severe ways, but still, I think he hates witches even more, I think, now. And I have to feel sorry for Woon because she had only two people she could rely on, and now she really doesn't have anyone in her circle. I mean, that in her inner circle before, I guess. But with Alex said and now her no longer being able to trust Cresta, Verity, whatever. Anyway, she is alone, and I'm curious to see how that goes. I mean, she now has this mentor with Suffering because the reason she was rescuing Suffering in the first place was because her nan asked her to save her, and I guess in a way her nan knew that she was gonna come into her magic eventually when it weren't prepared. So I very much enjoyed that novel, and the next book I'm planning to start is The Love Letter by Lucinda Wiley. This is about when one of the greatest actors of his generation, Sir James Harrison, passes away at the age of 95. He leaves behind not just a heartbroken family, but also a secret so shocking, so devastating, that it could rock the English establishment to its core. Johanna Haslam is an ambitious young journalist assigned to cover the legendary actor's funeral. The great and good of the celebrity world are in attendance, but Joanna stumbles on something dark beneath the glamour. The mention of a letter James Harrison has left behind, the contents of which others have been desperate to conceal for over 70 years. As she peels back the veils of lies that has shrouded the secret, she realizes that there are other forces attempting to prevent her from discovering the truth, and those stop at nothing to reach the letter before she does so. I'm very much intrigued about that, and I think for the rest of the day I'm just gonna spend 100 under a blanket, just cause I am quite cold still. So I think that's all for now. So I'll see you in it. So it's the next day, and so far I've just run some errands and whatnot, and I did do some reading. I did some reading last night and some more today, and so far I'm on page 98 of The Love Letter, and I would say I am intrigued. So far we do meet, I guess, the major players of this. We meet Joanna, who is kind of grieving. Her boyfriend of 6 years broke up with her, claiming he didn't feel it was spark to get married and whatnot, when really he met another girl and he fell in love with her. So we see the end of that relationship on the day that she's also just quite sick, with a cold, and her boss at the newspaper she works at, which is, from my understanding, quite smallish newspaper, calls her and tells her she has to fill in for the funeral of the famous actor James Harrison, who recently passed away. And it's a big funeral of celebrities, and they want pictures and interview with his granddaughter Zoe. And we see when she gets to the funeral and sees everyone that she sat next to this older lady who has this a coffin fit when she sees someone and she leaves. She helps the lady back to I guess the apartment she's staying at, the lady has a bunch of tea chests that are not open, and it seems like she's not planning to stay there. And she and Zoe, not Zoe, oh my god, she and Joanna talk, and Joanna goes back to the funeral, and we just follow that, and we don't get the perspective of Joanna. We also get the perspective of Zoe, who was James's granddaughter, and we see the relationship, how James basically raised her as his own daughter. Like, her father was quite an absentee parent, from what I understand, and her mother did die when she was like, I think 10. And we see like how her kind of not struggle, but get back in touch with the father of her son. And she had her son when she was quite young, when she was 18, and it seemed like for some reason at the time she wasn't able to be in a relationship with the father. And we do see like her interact with him, and we're never given his name, which I find quite interesting, on who Jamie, her son's father, is. And we also see how she's really struggling to help her brother, who was an inspiring producer, but movies he's produced or projects he's tried to produce have this fallen through, and he's not able to get a loan to produce a new film because of his credit score with the bank, and as well his father, it seems like, is giving up on him. And it seems like the brother has a drinking problem, and he has the sense that because he is the eldest son of this family, not the eldest son, but he is a white British man, like things should be handed to him on a silver platter. Like, that's just the behavior he's seen again. Like, when he's getting opportunities that will eventually lead him to what he wants, he doesn't take it. It seems like to him his eyes are only on a bigger prize, and he's just coming across as quite arrogant. And we also see how the woman Joanna met at the funeral, she writes to Joanna the newspaper and sends her a letter, and she asks Joanna to meet her. And when Joanna goes back to the house, it seems like the lady fell down the stairs. Joanna finds proof that the lady might have been pushed down the stairs, and a lot of weird things happening. It seems like someone is following her. Someone did break into her apartment, and yeah, I'm thinking like what this letter is about. Who wants it? Why is Joanna being followed? And who broke into her apartment as well? I'm also intrigued about Joanna's friend Simon, who works as his civil servant. And yeah, when the police show up and ask him, not ask him, but he tells them not to tell Joanna like his exact position. Like, it's quite secretive, the whole thing. So yeah, I'm intrigued about that. So yeah, so far I still have a lot of questions. I'm still getting to know our cast of characters. This book, I believe, is over 500 pages, or at least my copy. So yeah, I guess so far I'm intrigued. But yeah, for the rest of the day, I'm just planning to be under the blanket. It's another quite chilly day today, in 27 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, I'm gonna try to stay warm. So I'll see you when I see you. So it's the next day, and I just got back from running some more errands. I just did my grocery shopping and whatnot. And I have done some more reading of the love letter, and I'm on page 200, and so far I think I'm liking it out. There was a moment last night when I was reading where I was just feeling fine about it, but I'm liking it out. We do see how Marcus, he realizes he was just being arrogant and kind of full of himself. Like, he is someone, like, because his mother died extremely young, and she was someone who was like an advocate, like, of climate change, and she just wanted the world to be a better place, and he admired her. He tried to take on projects that she would love, even if they were very niche, even if other people didn't believe in him, and as well as the fact out because he was intrigued about the producing side of things, the kind of side of the film industry. His family, I guess, never really thought about his father didn't take him so seriously. So, and Marcus also realizes like the opportunity he will have with the memorial fund, how better his life, and he will be able to take on projects he'll want. And we see how he starts to change. And after he meets Joanna, he decides to stop drinking to better himself for her. Like for some reason, like this weird thing between Joanna and Marcus. It's instant attraction, I would say, because she finds him extremely handsome and he finds her extremely beautiful, unlike any other girl he's ever like been with, you know. And I don't know, it's just like not really getting it so far. Like, and we do see like how anyway she has taken advantage of this partnership, because not partnership, but the fact she does have to interview him about this memorial fund for the newspaper. Like she told Alec, her editor, about the information she had found so far about the love letter as well. Some very few weird things about the fact, like she cannot find the old lady's body anywhere. Like, it was removed by an ambulance, and yet it seems like it's just disappeared as well. The flat was cleared out by someone who wasn't the owner of the apartment, or Rose's, the woman's family, or anyone. It seems like the body just disappeared and all of her bones disappeared. Like someone wanted to prevent Joanna or no one really from getting information about Rose, which is interesting. And yeah, and yeah, there's my train of thought. I'm sorry, I lost it for a second. And now it kind of like he cannot give her full permission to work on it, like have it be her main focus, but allow it to be like one of the projects she's working on. And he has her have lunch with Marcus to discuss like stuff about the memorial fund and the whole thing. And she learns of a nickname that James Harrison had, which was Salim, Siam, which we learn later on in the novel was because he played this genie. He did blackface, so the name stuck. And it's only and she realizes that the Sam she found, there was an eye which she does doubt herself in the fact like that dot could have been from the photocopier, because she did photocopy the letters. But at closer look, she does find the eye and can confirm that it's Salim. So yeah, she kind of gets Marcus to take her to that house in Dorset where James Harrison kept all memorabilia from I cannot say the name, I don't know why, from his career. And there she finds a picture of James Harrison on his wedding day where, oh god, he looks completely different to picture she finds it on. And seems like it might have been from before Square, he looked completely different. But there's something about his face, like that tells her it's the same person, even who like they look like completely different people. The names are completely different, like that's the same person. So she learns that he did change his name at one point, or she thinks he did. We also get that confirmation on page later on, when an associate, I would say, of him, of James, did tell Zoe that he did change his name to James Harrison, and as well changed his accent, that he really changed himself to appear more British, because James Harrison is initially from Ireland, which I'm intrigued to see if we like kind of get more information on like exactly the why, if there was a reason he had to change his name and identity, like I guess his life story, because there's no pictures or anything of James Harrison from before his 20s, which is quite odd. He did say it happened in a house fire when he was a kid, but still, like, I don't know, there's a lot of questions there. Who exactly this James Harrison really is, who this individual Michael O'Connor is, and as well, there's also the thing like Simon with his boss. His boss is very interested in the letter that Rose gave Joanna. It is confirmed that he was the one who organized the break-in in her flat, and she does later on find this pen that was left behind with the initials ICS, which she does suspect belongs to one of Simon's co-workers. And Simon's boss has him kind of make up a story, like something to get that letter away from Joanna. And like, he tells her that he has a friend that might help him analyze the letter for any clues or anything, and then he tells her that this disintegrated, like the paper is just too fragile to be kept together. He wants her to believe he lost the letter unknowingly. Like he might have lost the original copy, but she did Photoshop copy it, so she still has a copy. So yeah. And we also she starts to doubt Simon and the whole thing. Like, starts to wonder what exactly a civil servant could be doing, like with someone who has Simon's intelligence, and he is someone who's extremely intelligent. Like she's been taught that she always must be doubtful for sources, and also must always be questioning people, but even those close to her. So you do see her start to question, and we see like how it seems like Simon's boss or someone who has a very high level of, I don't know, someone in a higher ranks, I would say. They want to silence Joanna and keep her from investigating this story, because after she returns from Dorset with Marcus, Alec tells her that their boss has demoted her, has her transformed from the news station to like the dog and animal station of the newspaper. So she's been demoted. She's not able to work on the story, like officially. So that's intriguing. Like, who exactly is Simon working for? Like, we do learn, I should say, that he was at this anti-terrorism like practice thing. Like, what exactly is his work? Why does his boss want Joanna to not like be involved in the story? Like, I don't know. There's just a lot of questions, and I would say I'm very much intrigued to see the answers to this, to all of them. So, yeah. And so far today, yeah, I've just been quite tired. That's enough fun for me. But it's been warmer. Feels like spring compared to yesterday. Almost 40 degrees compared to the 26. But yeah, and tomorrow we do get snow, so that should be fun. I do enjoy it when it snows, even if it's it's not gonna be that much. It's gonna be like an inch, but still it's something. But yeah, I think that's all for now. So I'll see you when I see you. So it's the next day, and we did get some snow. It has since melted. It wasn't a lot of the coating, but still quite nice to watch it fall, even if now it's this dreary kind of like it makes me glad I didn't buy irons yesterday. That's because it is a bit colder than it was yesterday. But yeah, but I didn't have to do any cleaning up snow, which makes me happy. Just because I mean I do like it, but I don't know. I just don't like being outside in the cold. So And I have done some more reading of the love letter, and I'm now on page 342. And I do have to say the one thing I'm liking about this book, let me see if I can do this one-handed, which is the fact it's kind of separated into parts or sections, and between each part you can really see there's like a page that looks like this. This says the isolated pawn, and it just gives details on like the pawn and kind of the way it can be used in a chess game. And I think that's probably the most an interesting detail I would have to say, having the novel broken up like it's a chess game we're playing, like Joanna versus like Simon's company, his agency, like who's gonna win this game first, who's gonna get down about the business with the letters first. Like I just find that interesting. So yeah, I didn't mean to mention that yesterday, but I completely forgot. What I did read yesterday and today was Zoe learning more about her grandfather's past from her co-star, I think that's the proper term. We didn't know him. James would give the guy William letters to be delivered. Like he would have William go to like a street corner somewhere and deliver it to some woman, and he would then pay William for doing this, and as well as other favors, and this continued until one day James like disappeared for I think it was a few months, and then he reappeared looking quite different, and like the letters continued, these small favors continued until he disappeared once more, but this time he resurfaced, I would say, with a different name. And when William goes to like catch up and whatnot, James says that they should break ties, like to stay away from one another. I think he's doing it to protect William, which is quite interesting. Like, what did James get involved with that caused him to change his appearance and then change his name? So that is quite interesting. And we see later Marcus, he gets approached by one of Simon's co-workers who claims he wants to catch up over things, even if the guy was like 5 years above him in school, and it's been 15 years, I think 17 years really, and it's really just like a ruse to meet up with Marcus, who he wants to really serve as an informant for him and tell him stuff about like Joanna's research into what's happening into this letter, and just tell him about it. And he promises he'll give Marcus money, and he does leave him like an envelope full of money. It's like a first payment, and warns Marcus like of any consequences. And Marcus, it's so far it doesn't seem like he is serving as this informant for this guy, but he also thinks he should tell Joanna, but he decides not to, and he keeps coming up with some excuses like for why he shouldn't. It's like, oh, she'll break up with him, she'll leave him, like she'll be hurt by him. Like the fact he's hiding this from her is gonna hurt her more than that, I think. So yeah, and we do learn who exactly Zoe is involved with, who is a prince of the British royal family, who is third in line for the throne. So like he thinks not that far off, but it seems like he's not one of these princes who's like in a spotlight constantly. He's just someone who's like, he's supposed to look and act like he's just your average citizen. That's not the case. And Simon, he seems to be like, he was given as an assistant to the Royal Protection Agency or something like that, and like to protect Zoe, to drive her to places where she'll be meeting Prince Art and whatnot. And the service continues, and when he is then assigned to basically be her bodyguard, like stay in her house, stay with her, follow her everywhere. So and there's the thing with like Zoe also not wanting to tell Jamie who exactly her father is, because that would make things complicated. Like she's in a way trying to protect her son, but really I think she's protecting herself, because she doesn't want Jamie to get the idea that maybe he'll have a father figure. No, he had a father figure in the sense like of James, of Zoe's grandfather, but he'll have a proper father who will always be there for him. And I think Zoe's also afraid of how this might change her son when he learns he is royalty, in a sense, if Art's family do accept them, because to the media she would just look like this unmarried child, unmarried mother, and even if she's an actress, it's still not the best reputation. I think she has a successful career, but it's like, I don't know, there's still some old-fashioned thinking going on, unfortunately. And the co-actor, he did want to tell Zoe more of the story, but he wasn't able to, as he was severely attacked in his home by agents of Simon's job, I should say, who happened to be MI5, we learned. So yeah, that complicates matters. He did survive the attack, but he unfortunately died in the hospital, but not before he gave Zoe this like signet ring that James gave him, and in his tells her something about Woe's lady in waiting, which Zoe tells Marcus, who tells Joanna, and it makes them think that maybe this Woe's person was a lady in waiting again, that the British royal family like want to prevent any affairs she might have been involved with from getting out. They want to destroy any evidence that she was involved with someone, seems like. Yeah. And MI5, they only learned about this co-star Willem when they overheard a conversation Marcus and Joanna were having in Marcus's flat, because they bugged both of their flats, so they knew what they were talking about this entire time. And they also have Simon bug Zoe's house, which he does take off those bugs later on, but still, like. And the thing is, like, the relationship between Zoe and Art, it was supposed to be a secret, like, kept and hidden until one of Simon's co-workers, who's the same co-worker who met with Marcus, who's this alcoholic, burnt out MI5 agent who thinks that MI5 will just take him out. And so he tells a journalist about Zoe and Art, and a photographer takes a picture of Art going into Zoe's house and like them walking in this garden, and the pictures are published in the same newspaper that Joanna happens to work out. And yeah, Joanna did meet Zoe like when Marcus wanted to introduce them, and it seems like she and Zoe, they become fast friends. And Zoe, like, she was worried about the fact like Joanna, she is a reporter, and worries if she can trust her with any information. Joanna does reassure her she's able to, and we seem like I don't know, it just felt like this level of trust was supposed to be built, and then it's completely destroyed, because even Simon, who's known was known Joanna her entire life, accuses her of being the one who published it, and it causes this fight. Like, Simon later realizes he might be not complicit, but he might be not involved, but he might, I don't know, he's not clear-headed. There's a word that I want to say, but it's like on the tip of my tongue, and later on I'm gonna be annoyed at myself anyway. He realized during that fight realizes he might actually have feelings for Zoe, and he might be jealous because he's being more as this security guard. He's protective of her, wants to keep her safe, like wants to help her. Like it seems like he genuinely cares about her, and he realizes that. But he also realizes it compromises him in a sense. He won't be able to perform his job clear-headed enough. Like, these feelings will prevent him from doing his job properly, from being uninvolved with his client, and also I kind of think Zoe and Simon more. I know of her there is history with art, so that's probably one reason she's drawn to him, as well as the fact he is the father of her son, and she still loves him. But Simon, so far in his whole thing, when Zoe's scared out of her mind because the press are literally like at her windows on ladders trying to take pictures inside her house, like she has lost this sense of privacy she would have felt at home, and she's scared out of her mind. And yet Arden doesn't call her once. It's either because he wasn't able to because he had to do with like damage control, or just he just didn't care about how she might be feeling about the whole thing. Like I don't know. So for this scene, this left a bad taste in my mouth. So yeah, there's that. And where I left off, it seems like she'll be going to Spain with her to try and resolve this, and like the two do need to have a discussion on like where they're gonna move forward and what the royal family is really planning to do, because they did release a press statement where they were just like, oh yeah, Art and Zoe, they're just close friends. Like they're not even they didn't really confirm the fact like that they're together, they're a couple. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see how that goes. But yeah, that's all for now, and it's also the end of this video. So if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below telling me what you've been up to recently. If you want to, please subscribe to this channel. And if you want to follow me on any social media, then all those links are down bar below. I'll see you guys next time I post a video. Bye.